Hello, Tubies. How are you all doing? I need to make more of this powder. Can you see that? Oh, you can. This powder is not something you burn. It is not used for tea. It is not used for any of that kind of stuff. I've got some candles that I've made that are burning. This is Boone's candle. These are they're soy-based candles, and I'm still learning how to make candles. The biggest issue I have that apparently my prehistoric friend who is a Khaleesi that runs with dragons and dinosaurs back when, before the asteroid hit and Game of Thrones was a thing. She's pretty much a White Walker these days. But anyways, I just learned the other day that when you make candles, while the wax is setting before it completely solidifies, you have to poke a hole down the center by the wick to release the trapped air. I didn't know that, and so I had this one issue where Boone's candle was burning, and then all of a sudden the glass kind of looked like it was getting dark, and it just turned out that there was a huge gaping hole in the center, but the wax filled in and fixed itself. So it's burning normally. I've got my candles to a point where they can burn. They burn evenly. They don't tunnel. They burn normally, and it's really nice. I have this other big one that I'll bring out. This one has a lot of this mixture in it. It's a really big ass black candle. It doesn't look black. So I bought this dye at Michael's. It's supposed to be black dye, but it just looks navy blue, like really, really dark blue. And I can guarantee you it's black. It says on there black, nor black. And I'm like, it doesn't look black. And when it dried, it just looks navy blue to me. This one I didn't do too well on. This one, it still burns normally, but I think the jar might be too big for the wick. I use a thicker wick, but that's okay. I have some jar stuff I need to do tonight. Let's move this out of the way. Speaking of which, I wanted to talk to you guys quickly before we make this about your cast iron cauldrons. If you're lucky enough to own one, and they're quite expensive, so don't feel like you need to rush out and buy one. But if you're lucky enough to own one, you need to take care of it. A lot of people will burn their incense. Like for this one, I burn my incense in it. But for this guy, I do my fireworkings and readings and my just other witchy-based stuff in here. I don't use this to burn incense because that's not really what a cauldron is for. Sometimes I will put oil in here and infuse herbs into the oil, like over the stove. It does heat up. It takes a little while to heat up, but it does heat up. With cast iron, if you have cast iron pans, you know how to take care of them. When you first buy one of these suckers, you want to take it home, you want to really scrub it. It's the one and the only time you ever use soap on these things. If you need to clean it, like in the case where I use oil in it, or if I've burned stuff in it and it kind of sticks to the bottom or whatever, I just put salt in there, like a lot of salt. And then I pour water in to kind of to get that salt mixed up. And then I scrub the bottom with like a cloth. Then I scrub the inside with a cloth. And then I'll put a little bit of oil or a little bit of lard inside, stick it in the oven for like an hour on like 350. I know with some people, they'll do it on like 500 to get the oil at the smoking point because then it like carbonizes the oil onto there. I mean, I'm not cooking with this, but I do want to take care of it. I don't want it to, I don't stick it in the dishwasher. I don't use soap and water on it because it is cast iron. It will rust and then it will look bad. And I like these things to last. So today I had to clean this and I just, scrubbed the whole thing down with salt and a cloth and, some warm water, and then just coated the whole thing in lard and put it in the oven for an hour, and it's all like, it looks brand new. It's fucking heavy too. Anywho, so the mixture that we're making today it's good for two purposes. One of those purposes is cursing a bitch. If you need to burn a bitch. If you've got some skank in your life or some hoe that's talking shit or whatever the case may be, this mixture on candles, in jars, whatever the case may be, is really, really great for burning a bitch. The second thing that it's good for is, now I said you can't burn it, but you can. You don't burn it inside at all, and you'll understand why when we go through the ingredients list together. If you live in an apartment like me, you can burn it outside. Just close your balcony door and don't burn a lot of it, and don't inhale it. Don't inhale the smoke. I very rarely, maybe once every 6 months or so, and I don't make a lot of this, but for tonight I need more than what's in here. What you can do is you put a little, like a pinch or two on a coal, and you wave, you take your incense burner and you wave it around, you don't breathe it in. And you envision like a barrier going over your place. The shit that's in here and the energy I put into this is really fucking potent. But I mostly use this, if I need to use this inside to put a barrier around the place, again, like once maybe every 6 months or so, then I'll dress a candle with its oil. It's the exact same ingredients, just infused into coconut oil. This is very toxic, very, very poisonous. You don't want your children, your pets, whatever, getting into it. And you don't need to coat your candle in such a way where it's loaded with herbs, because when the fire dies down and all that's left is that smoke, it's going to fuck up your house. If you decide to make this, once you're done with your mortar and pestle, do not make anything else in that mortar and pestle until you have washed this out at least twice with hot water and soap, and really scrub it out. So, let's begin the making process of this. What the fuck do I have in here? Well, what is this? I don't know what that is. But I'm just gonna dump it into here, and I'm not going to put a coal in there because I feel like it would be poisonous. Okay. So it really depends what you're going to use this for. You don't need a lot. A little bit will go a long way. I mean, I can use this in my jar stuff, the rest of this, in my jars and all that fun stuff. But then I need to make more because I need to dress candles with it later. Anywho, I'm not going to go through this whole process of what I'm doing and walk you through it, because this one's personal to me. This one has struck a chord, and my god and goddess have been pissed off for a couple of days now, and they're like, you need to do something, and we're going to just fill your head with what you need to do until you fucking do it. Okay? So the first thing that we're going to be putting in is sulfur. This is the reason you do not want to burn it in your house. At all. I get my sulfur from, there's a crystal store here in town where they sell little bags. Sorry if the camera's shaking. Little bags of sulfur. You can get this, I'm pretty sure you can get sulfur at like a plant store or like a Home Depot kind of store where they sell like building supplies. I don't know. I just get it from this place. The next thing I'm going to put in is black salt. My black salt has rosemary and charcoal and sea salt and sulfur. I like using sulfur in a lot of things, whether I'm burning a bitch or whether I'm protecting myself. I'm gonna put in some graveyard dirt, because why not? Graveyard dirt is great when it comes to spirits. For me, graveyard dirt in this particular case can go one of two ways. The spirits can haunt the bitch, or it's like a wall of, spiritual energy that protects me. I'm going to put in paprika, because if you're using this in protection, anything that comes to you, you want, to be sent back with a vengeance. And sorry, I moved the camera. I'm reaching behind you to grab shit. The next thing I'm going to put in is red pepper. Again, with the burning. And be liberal. Have you ever had food that's way too spicy? Yeah. You want this to be really spicy. I'm gonna put in some dragon's blood. Dragon's blood for me is very empowering. It adds that oomph to whatever spell it is that you're doing. The next thing is ginger. I learned the hard way to not burn ginger and cayenne or red chili pepper or whatever at the same time, because you're just asking for trouble at that point. And I'm just crushing this. I could have used ground ginger, but there's something really satisfying about crushing herbs. You know what I mean? Anywho, I'm going to use paprika, again with the burning, and I'm going to be very liberal with this, if it will come at all. And when I say liberal, I mean just be liberal. Be liberal. Let's see, what else do we have here? So we've got the whole, if someone's going to send you magic, it's going to be sent back to them. It's going to really sting and burn. My friend told me a story. I don't know how appropriate this is for YouTube, but I'm going to repeat it anyways. So I guess she knows this gay couple, and they were cooking in the kitchen, and one of them can eat ghost peppers like there's no tomorrow. And he decided, they wanted to have a little fun in the kitchen while cooking. Well, one thing leads to another, and the guy's dick is on fire. I don't have any ghost peppers for this, but if I did, it would be a kick to dry out some ghost peppers. Okay, so I'm using Eyebright because I want the person or persons who might be sending me magic or might, be trying to do whatever, to really see what's happening to them. To really understand and to know that, oh, well, that was a huge fucking mistake. Or if I'm needing to curse a bitch, that they know, oh, I must have done fucked up. The other thing I'm going to add is juniper berries, because every time I have to make this, which is not very often, I've only had to make this twice. Every time I make this, my goddess is like, you need to put juniper berries in there. And I'm like, why? But okay. I don't put in a lot of juniper berries. Now, some people will be like, and I've seen people say this to me before, where they're like, oh, you need to go counterclockwise if you're making something that's repelling or dishing out negative energy or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? It's not about what direction you're crushing. It's about the intention that you're putting into it. I'm going to be putting in some mugwort because most of the time, if someone tries to send me something, it's not necessarily about sending it back and making them see that it was a huge fucking mistake to send me anything, but it's also a mind fuck. Like, I want to get into their head. Like, if I'm cursing somebody with this mixture, I really want to get into their head. I want to get into their dreams. I want to, like, you know, I want to fuck with them on the spiritual, the psychological, the emotional, the mental, everything. I want to fuck shit up for them. And I don't do a lot of cursing these days because the only enemies I have are on the internet. And the internet, you just block bitches. You just block bitches. That's all you have to do. Anywho. So, that's pretty much it for this mixture. Like, those... Oh, wait, no, there's one last ingredient. Cloves. I always forget to put cloves into this. And then I get yelled at by the goddess afterwards. Gonna be liberal. Cloves is like a kick for this particular mixture. Now, if you're making this, you need to label your jars because you might accidentally think, oh, this is an incense. It smells like cloves. It smells really good. And then you'll be stupid enough to burn it in your house and then, yeah. But I don't make a lot of powders or incense these days. So I don't really need to label this because I pretty much can see the sulfur flakes in it. And I'm like, oh yeah. That's my don't fuck with me. Yeah, we'll put the lid on this. Anywho. So if you had dried Thai peppers, which I do have, I should put a few dried Thai peppers into this. That's some hot shit. But if you had ghost peppers and you dried them out, or like really, really like habanero peppers and you dried them out, crush them up and put them in here. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to get my Thai peppers. So I lied to all of you. I don't have Thai peppers. I thought I did. I think I might have thrown them out. Oops. Anywho. So that's basically this little mixture. It looks a little different than when I showed you it the first time, but that's because I made it a little bit more liberal with other stuff. I really want to put more paprika in here. And cayenne pepper. I always feel like I never have enough cayenne pepper in these things. And we'll put in a little bit more of this too. So the intentions that you'll want to put in this depend on what your use case is. I mean, after this video, I'll be putting some intentions into this. Basically, my intentions for this is that I want this, if I'm using it as a protective repellent, I want it to repel it, send it back with a sting and a bite. I want them to feel, you know, like let's say somebody sends you a curse to make you lose your job. Well, I want them to lose their job and for them to feel like they're constantly on fire. Or if I'm doing a curse where I want to make somebody sick, I want them to feel like their fever is never going to break. Like they're constantly on fire, like they're constantly burning. But it's all in their head because of the eyebright and the mugwort. Everything that I generally do if I'm going to fuck with a bitch is I'm going to fuck with your head. Anywho. So that's basically this. Again, your mortar and pestle need to be washed really, really fucking well. Because if you turn around and you forget to wash it and go and make a tea where you crush up some herbs, oh, honey, you're gonna wish, you'll probably get sick, but you're gonna wish that you never drank that at all. Okay? So that's basically this, and I don't know. Run with the dinosaurs, Khaleesi. Run with the dinosaurs.